Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group, and here at CMG we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men, and great true crime shows like Sticky Meek, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.
Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Open, Shepard, all alone. Shepard breaks a tackle and into the end zone. Sterling Shepard.
18. Thibodeau got there, got the ball out, scooped it and scored. Touchdown Giants. Kayvon Thibodeau.
Second down, 5. Jones again. Oh, here he goes. He can see the pylon. Touchdown.
Barkley looking for a seam. Great cut. Saquon Barkley in for the touchdown.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jawing About the G-Men, Giants football podcast, and it is the offseason, so we are branching out of just football. I'm Big Jace, joined by King Zay. What's going on? We have a lot to talk about. Shout out my boy Steve at Grass-Fed Gaming. What's going on? Make sure you check out him for iRacing. He likes to pretend to race cars. So if that piques your interest at all, make sure you follow him on Twitch. But let's dive in. Giants.
Don't do that. Sim racing is great. Sim racing is great. Don't do that to anybody.
I'm not. I'm saying that I'm giving him his props. That's just not my turn. I mean, that's just not my thing. But
it takes a ton of skill to do sim racing. It takes a ton of skill.
It does, and he's got the whole setup and everything. But shout out to Steve. Let's get into the football though. Topic that it's going to go on for the next couple weeks. The big news with the Giants is once the offseason starts, I believe it's like the 18th or 19th in March, Kenny Golladay will get cut. That'll free up around like $15 million in cap space. But that's good. That's good news. But the real news, us as Giants fans are waiting for, is who's going to get signed first. Who's the bigger priority? Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley. I talked about it last week. Daniel Jones in the process of changing agents. Rumors are he wants $45 million. To me, I think that's just him begging to be franchise tagged. But Zay, where are you? Where are your thoughts on all this? And if you're the Giants, if you're Joe Shane, who are you prioritizing, Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley?
Well, let me say this first. My first thoughts is I think everyone need to pump their brakes. This is called negotiations. Just because Daniel Jones says he wants $45 million doesn't mean he's going to get $45 million. That's just a number that they're going to start off with, and that's what they're going to work from there. And the Giants will come in lower. He'll come in a little higher. Then the Giants will go a little higher, but still lower. I honestly think he'll end up somewhere between 30 and 35 million. I could see somewhere like 33 in that range because, again, even guys like Jimmy Garoppolo and Derek Carr probably aren't going to see more than 35 million, and those are considered top quarterbacks on the market. And unfortunately, Daniel Jones only having 15 touchdowns while he had a great season. But Giants fans, it was memorable for us. We got to the second round of playoffs. That doesn't translate, 15 touchdowns doesn't translate to top quarterback in the league money. So obviously they'll sit down, they'll negotiate, they'll come up with something. Joe Shane's a smart guy. He'll work out something, and hopefully he gets the job done because then that makes it easier with the Saquon situation because worst comes to worst, if you really want Saquon, you can only franchise him at that point once you have Daniel Jones locked up. But that's something down the road. Obviously, you see the moves they're making to clear up cap space, to get more money, obviously, cutting Galladay. Leonard Williams could be another cap casualty because, again, he's going to be expensive to bring back. So the Giants could free up some money there. So I'm not stressing. It's very early. Again, running backs are a dime a dozen. You get good max 8 to 10 years maybe out of them. Good 8 years probably out of them. If you get 2 more on top of that, it would just be servable backup years, in my opinion. But Saquon's 26. He's got a ton of miles. He's got injury history. So if the Giants were to move on from Saquon Barkley, it wouldn't be like oh, God, we just lost something great. It would suck. Thanks for the memories, but we'll move on and we'll find somebody new. It's just the life cycle of the NFL.
All right. So you're saying they should prioritize Daniel Jones. That's what I'm getting?
This is what I say. I always say, having a quarterback is important to the team. Locking the quarterback up is very important. Having that position solidified and having it solidified for the right amount of money works. The Giants obviously screwed up by not picking up his fifth-year option, which then they would have to make a decision on him until next year, which would give them another, what do you have, show me, year, which would have worked out for the Giants. Obviously, they opted out of that, so we are where we are. But again, I tell people, look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady's success comes from not making the most money on the team. He allowed the team to go out and put weapons around him and pay other guys, while Tom Brady took a considerable amount of money, but not always, the league top quarterback money, and it worked out for him.
Yeah, my big thing last week was with the Daniel Jones 45 mil. You're right, it is just negotiations, but I felt Daniel Jones was one of those guys who would take a pay cut. But so I get where you're coming from. Yeah, but dude, I would put a bigger priority over Saquon Barkley because you talk about the miles, the injury, because of the injuries, he hasn't had that many miles. We haven't seen a lot of him on the field. So
you're a starter at Penn State.
I understand that, but still, in the NFL, he hasn't had as many miles as a lot of running backs at this point have. Granted, injuries, that's always going to be a big question mark with anyone you sign. But think about this year. Think about when the Giants were on those comeback games, like the Ravens, even the first game with the Commanders, the Packers, the Vikings. Think about that fourth quarter. Who were they giving the football to? It was Saquon Barkley. He was running down the field and scoring that go-ahead touchdown. I think Saquon Barkley is a bigger need for this Giants. I think he is really the heart and soul of this Giants team. Not just talking about his on-the-field stuff, off the field, him being a captain, him being a real leader. Daniel Jones is a leader, don't get me wrong, but he's that lead by example guy. Saquon Barkley has shown to be more like the general, more that getting the guys in the right spot and more commanding the team. So I'm going to take Saquon Barkley the Giants are going to get both. Like we're just looking for stuff to talk about right now. The Giants are going to get both guys, especially after they cut Kenny Galladay. You just give that money to Saquon, $15 million a year. I think that would be okay. But
not giving him 15. No, he's got a good maybe 2-3 years left.
No, he doesn't. Why though? What makes you say that?
Because football is the most brutal sport in the world. He'll be lucky if he makes another 3 years with the damage he takes, with the amount of carries he takes for that team. It's not going to end well. He, like I said, 4 years at Penn State as a starter is a lot. Most guys do about 2-3 years maybe, and then they rotate with guys at that. He was a full-time 4-year starter.
He was rotating with Miles Sanders.
Not as much. He took the majority of the load at Penn State.
Yeah,
Miles Sanders was there. He was there. Don't get me wrong, but he's taken less beating, and you've seen it in his career. He's looked fresher than Saquon.
Okay, but I mean, okay, you can say the exact same stuff about Christian McCaffrey too. He's taking a beating. He got his money.
Yeah, but Christian McCaffrey's another guy. The Panthers aren't going to look back and be like, "Oh God, we wish we never got rid of him." No, that's just not. It's just not how it works. There are very few running backs who have very long careers. Adrian Peterson is one of the few who, one of those guys who have very long careers.
Why can't Saquon Barkley be that though? Look at the way this guy treats his body. Look at how jacked he is. Look at all the freak stuff that happens with him. It's like he was coming into the league being the LeBron James of football.
Jesus,
that was a lot of people were saying that. Look at LeBron's career and how he's been able to take care of his body. Why can't Saquon Barkley do that?
Because LeBron's never had a serious injury. Saquon Barkley's already had 2.
That is okay. That's
You're talking about 2 different animals. That's why I don't like comparing them. Football is a different breed. You got to understand, football is a sport where you can end your season on a complete non-contact injury. Look at the field. They play on the worst field in the NFL. The Giants statistically had the most ACL tears in the league because of their field. Their field is terrible. You have to take that into consideration if they don't change that.
The field, that's a whole different topic, and I know a lot of players are talking about it. And I mean, shout out to you, Zay. You were the first to bring up turf being bad. One of the first people, and then obviously the Super Bowl, that grass was very, very bad. But Saquon Barkley, I think $15 million, even if he comes in being that main load carrier, but even like drafting a guy in like the 3rd round just to take a little bit off of him, like you can do that. Just having him on the field, Zay, having him be that weapon, is going to be good. 13.
I'm not going past 13. Again,
okay, but if you can save a little bit on Daniel Jones, say Daniel Jones signs for 30.
It's not about.
Are you willing to give that extra?
It's not just about them two. There are other holes that have to be filled on this team. There are other positions that need to be addressed on this team. You can't just sit here and devote your whole 45 or 46 million. Whatever.
This is the heart and soul of the team, though.
No, it does not. I do not care.
Yes, it is.
I do not care. Things turn over. Guess what? I'm going to be honest with you. And I love Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is very replaceable. If they were to make a trade for Lamar Jackson on draft night for Daniel Jones, I'm just saying, a hypothetical out there, he's very replaceable. People will forget he was ever here. Don't ever get that twisted. Daniel Jones has not done anything but one playoff win. You can tell me he's the heart and soul of the team. That's great. But Brian Daboll looks like the coach that can do it with any quarterback he gets.
I would say Saquon Barkley is more the heart and soul of the team. But Daniel Jones has proven he can be the guy.
Yeah, they're both expendable people. That's the best way I'm going to put it. They're both expendable.
I mean, today's NFL, everyone's expendable. Yes. Aaron Rodgers, we're talking about getting traded. Lamar Jackson, we'll talk about in a little bit.
Aaron Rodgers is expendable because he's old. It's different.
But people were talking about him being expendable years ago.
No.
This trade talk didn't just come out of nowhere.
They're not trading a 30, a 29,
people thought he was going to get traded, and then he came out and won 2 back-to-back MVPs.
It's never going to happen. You got to understand, they talk a lot of crap. They bluff a lot of times. Aaron Rodgers is only expendable now because he's old. There's nothing more to it.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about we're talking about trading. Let's dive right into it. Lamar Jackson, someone who's young. He's on the trade block, representing himself as an agent, which shame on all other sports media for attacking Lamar Jackson for representing himself. There's going to be issues with it, but for them to just that's what I've noticed. That really since the season ended, sports media is attacking Lamar Jackson for not having an agent very harshly just because he doesn't have an agent that they can get the inside scoop from. Shame on you. The man's doing the best he can. There are a lot of issues that come in with representing yourself, but he is doing it. And would he do a little bit better with an agent? Yeah, maybe. Could that help facilitate some trades? Help him facilitate trades and other stuff? Yeah, maybe a little. But I'm not going to just keep harping on Lamar Jackson for representing himself just because we can't get any inside scoop from it. That's what the big people in Bristol and in LA or wherever, that's what they've been harping on really since the season ended. But with that being said, Zay, I just had to get that off my chest because I've noticed that a lot since the season ended. But where do you expect this Lamar Jackson scenario to play out? How do you expect that?
First, let me say kudos to Lamar Jackson for standing on his word. He doesn't want to be RG3, 2.0. He shouldn't have played at the end of the season, and I think that was the best decision for him going forward. I don't think he'll be with the Ravens. I think their relationship is severed. But I do, for some reason, keep getting the feeling that the 49ers could be a wild card in this situation. Now, everyone's talking Jets and Atlanta and all these Carolina, all these other southern spots that he would be familiar and close to home and all this yada, yada, yada crap, whatever. But don't sleep on San Francisco. We've seen San Francisco pull up some amazing things before. Obviously, with Tom Brady out of the picture, Brock Purdy having rotator cuff surgery or whatever it is, UCL surgery or whatever the heck he's got, whatever baseball injury he's got. Jimmy G, obviously, he won't be back. And I'm being honest, I don't think Trey Lance was ever it. I think he was just beneficial of being slightly better than the competition in which he played in college. And we, again, more of a Zach Wilson situation where we see very little of him. And we made a huge determination based off of that. But I could see the 49ers. I really could.
I like that. I actually mentioned it last week. Throwing in a package, giving them a guy like Trey Lance, guy on a rookie contract. You're not going to have to – this won't be an issue for a while. Get him. He's also mobile. Like Lamar Jackson, ever since they brought in Lamar Jackson, they've been – that's one thing I like with the Ravens. Their backups have been fitting very well. Like, they have the mobile guys. And a lot of Ravens fans are high on Tyler Huntley. I don't think so. I'm a Utah Utes fan. He was my quarterback for a while. He's not an NFL quarterback. So give him a guy, also throw in like an Ayuk. You get a wide receiver there. I really do like that San Fran trade. I don't see it happening. I think that would be wild if it did, and that would change a lot. I like the idea. But for me, what I said last week, I think the Saints give up some draft picks, also get rid of Michael Thomas. The big thing with me with the 49ers and the Saints deal is the Ravens aren't just getting rid of Lamar Jackson. They're also benefiting, bringing with the 49ers, like I said, an Ayuk, a guy who can become that number one wide receiver, or get Michael Thomas. You finally have that number one wide receiver. See how good actually Tyler Huntley is, or draft a guy. There's a lot of avenues. I know a lot of people, obviously everyone's talking about the Jets and him coming to New York and that stuff. Also with Aaron Rodgers, a lot of people are talking about the Jets. I don't know about that.
Nobody was playing for the Jets. The Jets will end up with Geno Smith.
Maybe.
As bad as that sounds, the Jets will end up with Geno Smith again. There was all their possibilities end up with the Jets. I'm sorry to say it.
I mean, I think the worst the Jets do is get Derek Carr. And I don't know how – I don't think that's that bad.
No one's saying it's bad. No. Look, Derek Carr when healthy, is a very good quarterback. He hasn't had very good teams to prove it. But if the Jets, again, they could be a quarterback away, like most people say. But only time will tell. But I don't think Lamar Jackson. It's one thing I can tell you. I don't think the Ravens will trade him within the AFC. I don't think they want a situation where he can come back and play them in the AFC Championship and knock them out. I don't think they'd want that situation.
I think I get that, but I think they're also like you're admitting to a rebuild here, right? So you're kind of like throwing out like if you're trading away your star, the guy who brought an MVP to your team, the identity of your team, since he's been on there, you're starting to rebuild in some way, shape, or form. So I think you don't necessarily have your eyes on the playoffs, do you? If you're trading away Lamar Jackson.
Look, I don't know. Here's my thing: if you trade away Lamar Jackson, still, you have to get something. So again, what are the Jets going to lose in order to get Lamar Jackson? That's also another question mark in the situation. But time will tell. I think honestly, the 49ers, I think they'll pull a move behind our backs draft night. We don't know. We'll never see it coming. And again, if he think he fits that situation that they need, they to me look like a team that was a quarterback away from the Super Bowl last year. It was really suck what happened to Brock Purdy, but that team looked great defensively. They looked good offensively. They had weapons everywhere. You bring in a guy like Lamar Jackson, and that could get scary with all that speed on offense. So, and then that's also if they can retain all their guys like you can. All these other guys that will be bringing back, but we'll see. But again, Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Lamar Jackson, that's
just those three.
Yeah, that's a good team to me. I'm just I hope the 49ers aren't listening because I don't want them to get better. But I'm just
I really like that. I like that deal. I don't know if it will happen, but. I mean, the only real knock, I guess you could say with that. Before I just need to throw this in before we move on. But you're bringing in someone. You have all these quarterback injuries. Now you're bringing in someone whose season ended because of an injury. Granted, there was also contract disputes in that with that injury as well. So don't really know. I know that is going to be something that people are going to talk about. But let's move on. Off season, off sport. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the NBA. Starting off, I realized I upload these graphics and I haven't been using them. But so we're going to start off in the West because that's obviously the big poppin' news right now. Kyrie Irving to the Mavs, Kevin Durant to the Suns. I'm pretty sure Kevin Durant is supposed to make his debut with the Suns this week. So that should be interesting to see how that plays off. Obviously, Kyrie's already done that. So we don't need to talk about Brooklyn because that was just disastrous, that whole saga there. Zay, I want to just look forward, look to the playoffs. Does either one of these moves make either one of these teams the favorites come out of the West? Or if not, who do you think has that crown of the West right now?
Oh God. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? I will say this before I start. I've been in the Garden every game this month, and it's been rocking since KD and them left. Knicks been on a 6-game winning streak. New York is booming, baby.
Hey, and to the East, don't worry.
And those two are really, really missing out what's going on in the East because it's been fun over here the last couple of weeks. But if I'm being honest, I don't think these two trades tip the scale. I know everyone now has the Suns as the favorites to win and all this yada yada. My biggest problem with the Suns is we always say this. Risher is big on saying this. Your best ability is availability, and I don't think when it matters the most, all three of those guys will be available. I think in some form or fashion, maybe one or two, maybe even all three will be missing when it comes down to it in the playoff season. I told you guys on our previous podcast, Kevin Durant would be an injury risk going forward after his torn Achilles. He has been that since. He is a guy who, when he's healthy, you know what you get, but the problem is you don't know how healthy or how long he's going to stay healthy. Excuse me, I should say that. Chris Paul, I've mentioned many times, the man is cursed. He can't stay healthy when it gets late in the series, whether it's age or whatever it is, curse. Chris Paul has not been there. And Booker, for someone who can score a ton of points, he's a guy who has just never been a factor when it comes late, deep late in the season. So, for me, I don't see the Suns being that team that goes and runs the gauntlet and wins it all just because they added KD. This is not the KD that was added to the 73-win, Golden State Warriors team. This is KD coming to a Suns team that lost a lot to get him. So you got to also remember that the bench is not what that bench was prior to him getting there. So that always goes into it. When you have a trade, in order to get a good player, it's going to cost you something. So you have to take in mind that. And as far as Kyrie Irving's situation goes, well, I think Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic are two great talents. I don't think those two great talents will be able to figure it out. Luka isn't LeBron, even though people build him up to be something similar to the next LeBron. I think he's great myself, but he's not LeBron. He doesn't complement players. Luka is a scorer, just like Kyrie. And I just think those two alone, it's just not enough offense and not enough defense for that team to make a deep run in the playoffs. I mean, they've surprised us before. They've made runs with just Luka, but it's only one.
Hey, don't discredit your boy Jalen Brunson.
What? Jalen is what Jalen is.
Listen, you can't be a Knicks fan and not bring up Jalen Brunson there. Like, I'm just saying.
I mean,
so who's your favorite out of the West then?
Out of the West, I don't know. You have to give me a couple more weeks.
Okay.
I can't because you want to throw those Nuggets and you want to say the Grizzlies, but then they'll get to the playoffs and they'll lose to a Golden State or something who just snuck in late. So you can't be too short. I'd say give me a couple more. I need a couple more weeks before I make that. It's still 20 some odd games left.
I got you. I mean, I like all your points you hit there. The Suns, this could be like they could just come in and dominate, or this could be just another version of the Nets where we talk about them and nothing happens. The real thing there with that trade, though, Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, like the real big sparks on your team, having to get rid of. Yeah, Kevin Durant's a big guy, but I think that just hurts the depth. So I'm not liking that. I think out of any of these, I like the Mavs move more because we saw Luka can get you to the Western Conference Finals. Now adding in I like Jalen Brunson, but he wasn't consistently what he is now, what he was in Dallas. So I think just having Kyrie just being that guy who can drop you 30, if Luka can drop you 50 in the playoffs, Kyrie drops you 30, and then all these other guys pick up a point here and there.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, but I think it's doable. And also, like, Kyrie was playing, like, some of the best basketball of his life before he got traded.
Yeah, no one's
playing great.
No one's disagreeing Kyrie's greatness to the team. The only issue with Kyrie is his loyalties and his, when he has his fits, he has his fits. But again, it is what it is with Kyrie Irving. I tell people that all the time. You get what you get with him, and you either like it or you don't.
Yeah, I got you. So, but for me, I'm gonna round out off the West. The Nuggets. I've been saying it since the season began. The Nuggets, with Jamal Murray still been banged up, Jokic averaging a triple-double. Aaron Gordon has really stepped up. I think he's going to be the real key, being that second guy, be bringing that extra productivity outside of Joker. But if Jamal Murray can get healthy, and we saw what he did in the playoff bubble, if he can just bring like a fraction of that, I think this team makes a run to the finals.
Yeah, it's not happening again, but it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's. I know you're on a time crunch. Let's quickly shift things over. Hey, what are you liking in the East? It just seems like it's been Milwaukee and Boston just duking it out on the top. Do you think a team could slide in there before the playoffs?
Oh, we're not talking about the same Boston that just got it handed to them. about the New York Knicks last night, are we? We're not talking about that same Boston, are we?
Yeah, the Jaylen Brown list Boston, yeah.
Jaylen Brown would not have made a factor in that game. You gotta understand.
Okay.
There are teams that are. I'm saying that this is a different Knicks team. This is not the same number 4 team from a few years ago. So you're going to have to put some respect on their name. I think the East is going to be more fun to watch in the playoffs than the West.
Oh, 100%.
I think the Cavs are a great team to watch. I think Miami will sneak in, get to the number 6 seed. Unfortunately, I don't think the Nets have enough to hold them off and keep them out of the play-in situation, which is going to suck for a Nets team that, again, doesn't have a ton of weapons, doesn't have a lot of resources there. But you never know. You can be surprised. Atlanta surprised a lot of people when they got in the playoffs as the 5 seed and basically almost ran the table.
Yeah, can Cam Thomas take over like Trae Young did?
But I think again, Miami. I think they'll wrap up that last playoff spot before the play-in. I think the play-in will be interesting with all those teams. I think Atlanta should be one of the teams that come out. They should probably grab the 7 or 8 seed. They should be one of the teams in. And the last team, and I can't tell you again. It's really a dogfight.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it really is a dogfight. You mentioned the teams at the top, but even when you look at the top, they're not all separated by much. A few games from each other here and there. So,
but yeah, Boston and Milwaukee's tied right now. And then,
I think Milwaukee is a half game lead because of the loss last night to the Knicks. Then you got Philly, who's got like 39 wins or something like that. They're like 39 wins, and
they're 4 games back.
And then you got, Cleveland was right behind them at 39, and the Knicks behind them at 36. So, the next 20 games should be an interesting roller coaster. If teams get hot, teams, fall off, who's going to, make it, who's not. I think it should be interesting. Again, I'm not giving you who's coming out of the East or the West right now. It's still too early. It's 20 games. The teams that are in here right now, a team can fall off a cliff. They can lose 10 in a row and find themselves outside looking in, God forbid. You don't know how the situation is going to go again.
Yeah.
The Knicks being able to run off 6 in a row has been amazing. And Milwaukee also is on another amazing win streak. I think it's 14 in a row, some crazy number like that. But again,
14.
Teams are going to lose. So you just gotta kind of like weather the storm into the end. So no, I'm not giving you an answer on who's going there, but I'd say the East will be interesting and fun to watch till the end.
Yeah.
Don't mind me. I'm setting up shows.
No, I got you. I will say to talk about the big dogs here. Everyone's been saying Celtics all year. I think Milwaukee has the edge there, though. Tatum and Brown are great, but just that. Holiday's been playing out of control. Obviously, Giannis is Giannis, but when healthy, Chris Middleton, that third option, I think that just gives them the edge. Like no one else. Yeah, maybe Grant Williams can come in, hit a couple 3, get hot from 3. Yeah, Derek White can do that, but you're going to get it consistently from all 3 of those guys when you get into a playoff situation. So I like the Bucks to come out of the East, and also just the better player seems to always win. What?
I think the Celtics take that. I think Malcolm Brogdon would have to be the X factor in that situation.
Malcolm Brogdon's good.
I do think the Celtics could take that. Brogdon has been underwhelming so far this year, I would say. Not what people were expecting. But, like I said, last 20 games, who knows who can get hot?
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah, the Celtics' depth is insane. So I will give them that. I think, and also what's their new coach's name? I know he's doing a great job. He's doing a great job. But also just like that, new coach. I mean, granted, I said this last year, and they got to the finals. But first-year coach going into Joe Manzula. I apologize for that. But, yeah, Joe Manzula's doing great. They know what they have to do to get there. But, I mean, Milwaukee's in the same boat. But I
mean, everybody's in the same boat.
Well, I mean, those are the only teams that have – I mean, I guess Miami as well because of the bubble. But those are out of the East, those are the teams that have been to the finals and have the most, like, returning players from when they were on the finals. Right? Yeah. So, but with that being said, I'm going to give you my finals prediction because Zay isn't going to. I have the Nuggets. I've had the Nuggets all year. I have them winning the finals because that's going to put a nice hunk of change in my pocket. But I have them beating the Phoenix Suns East, baby. The Philadelphia 76ers. Just like what you said, Joel Embiid, James Harden, they're not going to be able to stay healthy. But, dude, I want them to go to the finals and lose, complete the Philly second place sweep. I mean, they're not going to get NHL, which sucks. But MLS, obviously baseball with the Phillies, football with the Eagles. I want the 76ers to get there just because that's going to be funny. Fuck Philly.
I don't want to see
language.
I don't want them to be that close. I hate Philly.
Yeah, I want to see them lose. I love seeing that tear in their eyes. I love seeing that because they're so passionate, and I love that about them, that they really enjoy their sports. They take it to the next level. But with passion comes some of the best losses. And granted, I mean, I know what losing bad feels like. So, but I'm gonna say that as my prediction. I think the Bucks are the best team in the East, though, and I'm still sticking with my Nuggets. The Nuggets. I'm not gonna call them my Nuggets. I'm still a Jazz guy. Speaking of my Jazz, Laurie Marketing monster.
The Jazz. You told me that Donovan Mitchell was never leaving. Remember?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this. Danny Ainge. If he's going to bring in a bunch of draft picks, if he's going to do what he did in Boston, if he's going to bring in guys, obviously he's not going to bring in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but guys like that, if he can draft those guys, find those guys.
End the show.
That's how.
End the show.
I will end it. But that's how Utah has to win a title. You're not going to bring in big name free agents. You're going to have to homegrown, get it all homegrown. So.
Do something.
All right. Yeah. All right. That's going to do it for today's show. Big shout out to Annie Mac Home Mortgage, Chris Sawyer at Annie Mac Home Mortgage for sponsoring today's episode. Also, make sure you check out www.clovercrestmedia.com to find a bunch of other great podcasts like this. Hear other people's takes. I know Sports Talk with R&J Risser we brought up, and homeboy Justin D'Onofrio, he'll be on. He's a guest coming up for the March Madness because he's a college basketball savant. So, so we have all that coming up. Make sure you check out that Sports Talk with R&J. They go live tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you check that out. I'm sure they'll talk about what we have and a lot more. But, and that's going to do it for myself, Big Jace, and King Zay. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week for more John About the G-Men. Peace out, everyone.
Open, Shepard, all alone. Shepard breaks a tackle and into the end zone. Sterling Shepard.
Thibodeau got there, got the ball out, scooped it and scored. Touchdown Giants. Kayvon Thibodeau.
Second down, 5, Jones again. Oh, here he goes. He can see the pylon. Touchdown.
Barkley looking for a seam. Great cut. Saquon Barkley in for the touchdown.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.